Hello and welcome to this chapter where we're going to start off in this lesson by creating kind of a presentation document here in Photoshop to basically just show the three different sets that we created and kind of explore different ways in which we can present these icons. So we'll use a different tactic kind of, for each one. So to get started, I'm going to go to File, New, and I'm just going to call this Presentation. And the width I have here at 898, and the height, I'm going to use something real large just for now. I'm just going to choose 3000. It'll probably be even bigger than that. But first we're going to zoom up here to 100%. And I'm going to fill the background color here just with white. And so the first set that we're going to focus on is the first one that we completed, which was the flat social icons. And I'm going to use a background here, and so I'm going to create a new layer, and I'm just going to call this flat social BG, and I'm going to create a square here, and I'd say right to around this size. We can adjust it as needed, and I'm going to give it a color of like a very dark brown, right around there. And then I'm going to create a new layer, and we're going to use a clipping mask, and we'll just hit OK. And we're going to use a large feathered brush, and when I mean feathered, I mean hardness down to 0. And so I have mine set at 450. And the color, we're just going to go ahead and get that same color, and it's going to be just like a lighter color. And I'm just going to randomly select around there and maybe have a slightly lighter one. We'll adjust the hardness and alright. And then we can go to Image, Adjustments, Brightness and Contrast. Just bring those down a hair. And this is just kind of like a background effect that can help bring out the icons a little bit. And we see this sort of thing is kind of popular, somewhat of a trend right now in web design layouts. Alright, so now what I want to do is just up here, just type out flat social icons. And again, this can be used as a presentation graphic if you're going to attempt to sell icons on your website, which we'll get into in the next lesson. So I'm going to make this white. I'm going to use Myriad Pro. Actually, I'm going to use Source Sans here to keep consistent. We're going to use Extra Light. And by the way, that's a free font, Source Sans Pro. You can just do a search on Google for that. Alright, so now what I want to do is go ahead and open up our icons for the social icons. So here's all of them that we created. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm not going to open up all of these to display. I'm just going to use the 128 by 128 and the 64 by 64. Actually, I'm going to change my mind and use 32 by 32 there. Just hit OK. And so now we have both of these. I'm going to Control A to select all and then copy that. And then just paste in with Control V and take our other one, do the same thing, and we could just put it right down around there. And then what we want to do is open up the 128 and the 32 by 32 of each one of these. So I'm just going to hold Control while selecting the rest of the 4. And here's this and that. Okay. Alright, so now we have all of these open, and what we need to do is just go ahead and paste these in. And we'll go back there. We can use this just to quickly go back and forth. And we'll go here to Pinterest. Paste this in. Pinterest 32. Do the same thing here. with LinkedIn. And go to LinkedIn 32, and then we just have one more icon real quick, and that will be Google. And Google 32 is up there. Alright, so now what we can do is make sure auto select layer is applied, and we'll just select all these, although not these 3 layers. We'll kind of just get them lined up a little bit better here. And alright, that looks pretty good. And this just gives us, a quick preview of what it looks like, small and large. So now what we want to do is just take all these again, and we'll duplicate those. We'll deselect those layers. So right click and duplicate. Hit Control G and we'll group those up. We'll just call these social icons white background. And we'll deselect that and we'll just pull these down. And that way we could see what they look like on 2 different backgrounds. Alright, so now what I want to do is go on to the second one, or the second icon set that we created. So I'm going to close these out real quick, and then we'll open up the folder and import the appropriate sizes, the 128 and the 132 for our flat GUI icons. So let me go ahead and do that. And I had to, off camera, basically, we didn't export these with the different sizes, so all I did was open these up in Photoshop, which were, for this icon set, it was done in Adobe Illustrator. So all I did was open up that document, or open up these PNGs that we did before, and they were already 512, so I just scaled them down to 128 and saved, and also 132. So all I have to do is just open each one of these, or select them rather, and finally the mail down here. So we'll open that up. Alright, and we'll just go ahead back here to presentation. I'm going to start off with the camera, so we'll copy that and we'll paste this in. And first, really quickly, I'm going to back up and create a new layer, and I'm going to make select the background color like a dull dark blue, and roughly right around this size. And I'm going to make that a little bit darker. Alright, so we're going to show these like on a dark blue, just a flat color background. Alright, so I'm going to go back here to camera 32. And then the light bulb, which is bulb 128. Alright, and go to bulb 32. We'll just put that right there. And then we'll do the mail 128. Alright, mail 32. Alright, and the clip, which is right here. We'll go back here to clip 32, and then we just have one more real quick, which is the calendar. We'll have to move these just a little bit more after we get this final icon in here. Alright, so with auto select, we could take these two and just move them over here. Create a little bit more room. right around there. Oops. Alright, so then we can just go ahead up here and we'll duplicate that text layer and just drag it down and drag it up here to the top of the layers, and we'll change that to flat GUI icons, and then we'll go ahead and select that layer, hit Control T, and just drag it up a little bit. Alright, and then what we want to do is take all of these, we'll deselect those two layers, and then we'll duplicate. First we can group this real quick. GUI icons, duplicate that group, and pull them down. Alright, right there. Alright, so that's looking pretty good so far. And then finally we just have one more, and that is the flat holiday icon set. And we'll create the final container right here. And this time we'll just try to make it relevant to the actual icons that we're displaying. So since this is holiday, we can try to use maybe another dark blue, and then we'll create a new layer and we'll make that a clipping mask, and we'll choose a light type of blue, and we can use the same idea as in the previous. I'm going to create a new layer, make sure that's a clipping mask as well, and I'm just kind of randomly creating the feel of snowflakes, and it won't stick out this much. We'll go ahead and adjust the opacity here, create a new layer. Alright, so I'm going to take these three and just drop these down a bit because we don't want them really to get in the way too much. And then individually we can adjust these as we need to. Alright, so now we'll go ahead and duplicate that layer right here for the type, and we'll drag that down, not down that far, and then we can just call this flat holiday icons, and we'll go ahead to File, Open, and select the 32 and 128 versions. Alright, and we'll start with the tree here. I may want to make this a little bit darker for the background, but we'll adjust that afterwards. Alright. We'll put it right there. Go to present. Present 32. Alright, and ornament. Ornament 32. Put that right around there. And we'll go to the hat, and we'll go to presentation. Hat 32. Oops, 1 second, 32. Alright, and then finally we have the candy cane. Paste that in here, and We'll drag that right here. All right, and let's go back here to the background real quick. Make it just a bit darker. And we will, real quickly select, make sure auto select layers on, and deselect these portions right here. Let's move them up, hit Control G, and we'll call these ones holiday icons. We'll duplicate that, and we'll drag, make sure auto select layer or group is on, and we'll drag these down. Oops, we didn't need quite that tall of a document. But now if we go ahead and zoom out quite a bit, we can get a full view of our icon presentation. Alright, so that concludes this lesson. So in the next lesson, we're just going to take a look at ways that we can monetize and make money from designing icon sets. Alright, I'll see you then.